Hello YouTubers, Troz here. Welcome back to another Infinifactory solution review video. Last time we covered sorry about that. We covered resource site 526.81 and production zone 2. This time we'll be covering resource site 338.11 and resource site 902.42. So let me put up my previous scores here. Here are my scores for resource site 338.11. In general, I did a little better on cycles in my original playthrough, although looks like I did a little bit better on footprint and maybe block score as well in my YouTube playthrough. So there's that. Except for relay satellite cycle score, none of my scores really compare with any of the Reddit scores. Okay, so let's take a look at the first puzzle, Guided Javelin Type 2. For my YouTube playthrough, I had a 149 cycle, 46 footprint, and 46 block solution. I also had a solution that used 45 footprint and 45 blocks, but I'm assuming it was slower. So we have a few solutions here. Let's this is my lowest footprint solution with only 46 footprint. So let's take a look at it here. Should looks like we stack everything up and put the top on. With this sensor here triggering all the pushers except for the one in the back here. Although it looks like this may not even be needed because the next engine part could probably push the whole thing out. Not the fastest thing, and I'm betting timings are all messed up if we try to increase the rate here. Rate is -3, yes. Rather slow to get that to work out correctly. So the next solution that I have here has 104 cycles, and other than that, oh, it is my lowest block solution. I was going to say it wasn't really remarkable, but it does have a few less blocks, even though, well, it looks more complicated. Let's try from here. Let's get the engine stacking up. So we make basically a tower 3 tall here of the middle parts, and then drop them onto an engine, and then have the top fit on and send it away. Looks like I get some extra tops though. Not sure how that works. Let's we back up the engines, and these probably are coming in as fast as possible, except they block each other as well. So we get the spare nose cones here. We could have put a eviscerator. That would take an extra block. So we just waste the footprint instead. Well, it doesn't even waste footprint, and it will eventually back up. So that's how that works. Alright, let's look at the last solution here. This is my impressive 81 cycle solution. I actually spent a lot of time on this. I believe I did this solution after I did my build 10 at a time for Guided Javelin Type 1. you can't really build 10 of these at a time. But I did the next best thing. I built 5 of them at a time. A little delay at the beginning, just so we have everything set up. And there we go. We basically stack the bodies, then toss up the engines, and, well, this is going to end it off. So let's play that again. So as I said, we stack up the bodies. We need to wait till the engines get in place. And then we have the nose cones stacking up here. And most the bodies either get welded on this side or get welded when they get pushed over. Let's do that one more time. And I make sure the last one has everything welded, so as the last rocket moves, it will push the nose cones of all the others, and all the other nose cones get welded right here, and we make sure all the bodies are welded here if they haven't been. Yeah, this one, and this one, their whole body will get welded. But the others, well, the engine and the bottom two get welded, but if I put another welder here, then it would hook up with this one, and then the rockets will be welded together sideways, and that's no good. So we have this last welder here that basically welds the nose cone and top body section to the bottom 3 body sections and the engine. For all of them, except for the last one here would already be all welded, and actually so would the middle one, the way they work. Except, well, the middle one doesn't get its nose cone welded until it passes here. But we make sure the last one's all welded and solid so it can push all the rest without, like, the bottom slotting out from under the tops. And actually, let me just go back real quick. What I did not show off is how it works. There's a big timing loop here that triggers everything at the correct times. And that was it took a while to set up correctly. But that's how that works. And we just have normal pushers here on these lifters for the nose cones, just to get them up to the top. Alright, let's go on to nice chair. I actually had quite a few different solutions. Well, I came back to this one in my YouTube playthrough. My original solution was 171 cycles, 143 footprint, and 125 blocks. I later had a 13 block solution that was 408 cycles and 81 footprints. This one, well, it turned out relatively fast, so I never improved upon it. It's 2 cycles faster and actually smaller footprint and blocks. It's just as complicated. But basically, I make pairs of blocks and then arrange the pairs to form that. So let's see how this works. This is basically what I was trying to build in my YouTube solution, although my YouTube solution did it differently. These two make the chair's arm. These two make part of the seat, and then the first two make the back. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, we got a rotator there and there to make the arm. The seat is relatively simple. One slides forward, the other slides in, and then they get welded. So, yeah, not too complicated there. Relay satellite. Well, this is the same cycle score as my YouTube playthrough, although this has a bigger footprint and higher block score. Well, then my faster solution in my YouTube playthrough, I also had a 80 footprint and 72 block score, where my final one had, on my YouTube playthrough, had 109 footprint and 117 block score. And I only have one solution for this one. Whoa. Because this was changed. It was originally basically a 3x3x3, with this being the center, and then the solar panels going in this direction, 3 long. But it was changed in one of the updates later in the game, and so I had to redo it, and that's why I only have one solution. So this is, I think, basically the same as what I started off with in my YouTube playthrough. I think I have it going up just for a delay, to make sure everything gets in time. And it looks like I'm just making pairs of blocks as quickly as possible. And one slot's in here, and the other is lifted up a little bit and slots in here, and we got blockers that get pulled away. And yeah, that's about it. I think it's a little bit simpler layout-wise, but it looks like I have more blocks in the building of the solar panels section, because I'm attempting to build them 4 at a time. 4 pairs, well, 4 sections of 2 blocks each at a time. Terrestrial Surveyor. This was also changed near the end, which is why I only have one solution for it. In my YouTube playthrough, I have a 228 cycle, 132 footprint, 72 block initial solution. And then I reduced the cycles to 170, but that increased the footprint to 138 and 78 blocks. So this is quite a bit faster solution. Originally, this was one of the kind of white angled corner blocks, and it was later updated to be like this camera block, but that, of course, invalidated or reset the solution. So this it looks a bit complex, but we got a timer here, it looks like. Oops. So we're making the upside down T's, holding. Haha! That's good. Wow. Yeah, like literally in the last update, they changed it so that these were directional, these camera blocks. But they did not reset the solutions. What I'm doing here is I have this coming, and when it hits here, it's swinging it around in such a way that it's 2 blocks closer to the output. And that's just to get 2 cycles saved. Of course, now the camera's facing the wrong way. Originally that did not matter. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna move that here and change its direction, and that should work. Still gets 2 blocks closer, but now the camera's facing the right way. Alright. So we have a little block here that opens up this. At the same time, well, then later pulls this welder away. I'm not actually sure why I have the welder doing that. Rather than just always being there. I'm not actually sure. But over here we are just making the belts both sides at the same time, having them levitate in place around the center, and then just pushing it off and getting it output. Anti-javelin defense. I had a 163, 140 footprint, 78 block original solution, and then I later improved that to 127 cycles, 131 footprints, 74 blocks. So improved all of the possibilities. Here, in my original game, I have a 131 cycle, 250 footprint, 120 block solution. Let's take a look. Basically, I'm making these L's in a somewhat complicated method. But the rest of this is rather straightforward. We're making the backs and the barrels, sticking them together, dropping them on top of the L's. And the way this works out, because I have them so close, they actually kind of semi-block each other and so get offset. But I have a little thing here that works no matter which way they are. And yeah, so that's the solution. It takes up a little more footprint because they're offset, but fixing the offset would slow down the cycles because I'd have to reduce the input rate by 1. I do have this other solution that I never quite finished. And like the guided javelins, I was trying to build multiple at once. I think this is supposed to build 5 barrels at once, and 5 L's at once, and 5 backs at once, but I never finished working on it. Actually, while preparing for this video series, I fixed up some things, because not all these L's were getting welded, but I figured out actually a way to get them all welded correctly. So maybe I'll come back and finish this at one point. But yeah, you can see here, I try to rotate, but yeah, they're too close together. So trying to figure out how to get them all welded, and then out here, it probably would be a very low cycle, probably under 100. But I need to come back and finish it. Alright, we're going to move on to resource site 902.42 and show you the scores I got. Here are my scores for resource site 902.42. again, I did a little bit better in my original game here for cycles, except for terrestrial drone. Otherwise, though, I did better in my YouTube playthrough for footprint and block score in general. Reddit usually did better than me, although with both meat products, I was within 50 of their best. Okay, let's look at meat product type 57. In my YouTube playthrough, I got a 194 cycle, 225 footprint, 127 block solution. And then I later reduced the blocks to 103, which also reduced the footprint to 204, but it increased the cycles to 227. This actual puzzle is one of the interesting ones in that you don't always get the same score because the way the creatures move, the gopher-like creatures, is random. So let's take a look at this solution. It's nothing special. Oops. Just rotated that accidentally. So yeah, this is nothing special. I just push all the gophers, or whatever they are, up, and merging is a bit of a problem. As you can see, we blocked some guys over that way. They come through here, and I use just a kind of standard splitter here. Although, this could probably be better if we just went straight and had this above, instead of going off the side. But that's the least of our concerns, because this is always going to take longer. Let's check out the next solution. This is my fastest solution with 189 cycles, and in this one we give each their own lifter. And there's a little more space here for merging. We actually have two belts. So they merge a bit better. You do see they got blocked, but this more could have come up, and then we just have a kind of a pusher here to kind of help get them all in. Here we kind of have a slightly better, but it doesn't, not that it makes a difference, splitter. And I rerouted this one to come over here, so that this one and that one would both go in at the same time, instead of this one taking a cycle longer. So you can see, my best is actually 185. It varies depending on how the randomness works out. This is kind of an interesting solution. As I said earlier, and I showed off actually in my first video, there is an achievement for having a solution take more than 10,000 cycles. And this was my first attempt. I thought, what a better way than to just have a big open area and let these guys go crazy, and then even up here, they're gonna have to walk their own way into the machine. As you can see, though, it actually wound up completing in less than 5,000. It takes quite a while, but eventually the guys basically can't move, so they're kind of forced up. And then once that happens, eventually this will also fill up to the point where they can only go in there, and yeah, it doesn't take quite as long as one would hope. And you see they're already hardly able to move. And, oh, here's... Oh, we'll almost have a guy up there. We need one or two more to jump on that pad. Come on, there. the game will actually start to lag just because there's so many of these creatures that has to make random movements for. But it does particularly well. You know, pretty well. It's just once this area starts filling up, then it starts slowing down. Anyway, that's 1,000 cycles about now. And yeah, we're just starting to get guys up here, but you know, it's only 1,000 and you kind of need 10,000, and once this area starts getting full, you're going to get outputs pretty consistently. So maybe if I had extended this over this whole thing, but that would have been quite a build. Anyway, back to the barracks. This is getting a little long here, but we're going to finish it up. Relaxant Formula 13. I had, in my YouTube playthrough, a 183 cycle, 206 footprint, 223 block initial solution, and then I wound up with a 135 cycle, 173 footprint, 214 block solution. So again, improved in all areas. I have two solutions here. This one is strictly better, but let's just take a quick look at this one. We get 2 blocks of wood out of each, and I believe we also get enough for enough tree leaves for 2 of these cylinders each time. And we are just in time for the first filling up. Move that up, drop it down on top, drop the top down on top. So we're doing this in 2 stages, just so we can get everything out quickly enough. But yeah, that's getting these tops all backed up. Let's just play that again real quick. So I'm cutting 4 4-piece long strips out of each leaf, and then we're cutting those into 2 blocks each. So we're actually getting a lot. We're getting like 8 blocks out of each. And apparently we get lots of overflow, but it does work. You got a big delay here, and these tops all back up, but it seems to work. This is the faster one at a plus 14 rate. And looks like we're getting 2 tall blocks of leaves, 4 out of each tree. How much wood were we getting? 2 pieces of wood out of each. Again, 2 stages, stacking them here and then throwing the wood piece under. And that's that solution. Terrestrial drone. This I got a 245 cycle, 250 footprint, 98 block initial solution on my YouTube playthrough with a 173 cycle, 281 footprint, 98 block solution eventually. So faster, but slightly larger. This is a 249, 276 footprint, 161 block. So it's almost, well, bigger in practically all respects. Let's got the treads coming out here, there. We're getting these pieces stacked up, drop in on the treads, and it's welded in a method that well, I think it's a very similar method that I used in my YouTube playthrough. We pull it out straight, drop a barrel on. The barrel's been sitting there. Sensor, this is what was on the Surveyor before, with that got replaced by the camera. I think this is an improved version. My initial version probably just had a belt here instead of these nice rotators that speed things along. It actually works out really well that that block there just drops into place as the bottom arrives. Of course, you see, it has to go under, collect the cannon, and then get moved back by one, just so it can pass by the block that was holding the cannon. So that does take a little longer. But it was a decent solution. I have a star next to this one, but I'm not sure why, because there's only one solution. Meat product type 101. Maybe that's the one I meant to put the star next to. This is the whale puzzle. I had a 90 cycle, 460 footprint, 161 block initial solution. I later got a 93 cycle, so larger, 342 footprint, 184 block solution, but I believe that was a one wow solution. In my initial playthrough, I was just going for speed. So let's take a look at these. I think I'll call this my middle of the road solution, although it's low blocks. Oh. Well, you see what's going to happen here. This is going to take 2 slices of meat and 2 slices of blubber and feed them right into the machines. Release the meat after trimming off the blubber there. And then just standard splitters. So you can see actually even the blubber is getting backed up. And that's that solution. We'll take a look at this solution. It's my minimum footprint solution. And I think this is a one wow solution. Although I don't actually stop it at one well. So it actually may not be a one well solution. But again, it's just, we got these standard splitters at the end, which means the input rate or the output rate is limited. This is my fastest solution. It's 81 cycles, 468 footprint, 197 blocks. And we turn the well, we put it in face first, but the output here is with this shifting floor that, well, actually it's not a shifting floor, it's a shifting arm. Now this is still not the best way of doing it. There is actually a shifting floor solution, which is probably a little faster because this arm is going to block input every so often, where that shifting floor solution doesn't do that. But you can see this is like 10 cycles faster. So you can see these arms move back and forth. Otherwise it's not really that remarkable. Basically, it pushes 5 over to one side, pushes 5 over to the other side, and in the meantime lets 5 through to the center. Apparently, someone on my friends list has it with 1 cycle faster. They may be using the shifting floor. And that takes us to Aerial Combat Shuttle. I only created 1 solution for this. And remarkably, it's apparently very similar to my YouTube solution. My YouTube solution, I had a 257 cycle, 358 footprint, 159 block solution. Although at other points I had 153 footprint and 130 blocks, although that was probably a slower solution. This is a 256, so 1 cycle faster solution that uses 395 footprint, so a bit bigger, and 221 blocks, so that's quite a bit more. But let's take a look. So we make the body with just 2 pushes, so relatively low blocking there. But we build it sideways and then rotate the whole thing. This is just coming in and we just push it along, although it eventually blocks because the rate we're coming in, it's faster than we're actually using it, but that's so we can get other blocks quicker. These we are putting 2 together and then pushing them out, and these we're lifting them up. And occasionally extras will get pushed in which case they get eviscerated. It's because we're trying to get the main body blocks as fast as possible. So these come over and sit in place just in time to meet the bodies that come up, and we just come down here, rotate it into the correct direction, and move it over to the solution using the overhanging engines at the back. So that's that solution. And actually, that covers the whole Overlord campaign. I might take a little bit of a break, but I'll be back with the Resistance campaign, and I'm probably going to play that on this playthrough because I think I have a free solution. I'll come up with a new solution. I won't look at my previous one, but I'll start a new solution And then once I do have a working solution, we'll then compare to my my previous solution. Yeah, most of these I just solved once and then went on. They start to get pretty hard, although they do introduce some neat additions. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back in a week and a half, and we'll start up the next Resistance campaign. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys then with some more Infinifactory.